A women's fencing match is getting global attention after a female fencer was given the ultimate punishment for refusing to compete against a biological man. USA fencer Stephanie Turner was scheduled to face Redmond Sullivan at the University of Maryland. And this video you're looking at, posted on social media, shows that just as the match was about to begin, Turner took a knee, took off her mask, and forfeited the match in protest. Now, because of that, Turner received a black card. That is the harshest penalty you can get in the sport, and she was disqualified from the event. The video gained more than 1 million views. Turner told Fox News Digital, quote, "I looked at the ref and I said, I'm sorry, I cannot do this. I am a woman, this is a man, and this is a women's tournament, and I will not fence this individual."
Wow.
Dr. Sapphire, she said that she wouldn't sign up for events when she saw this biological male was on the roster. This time, must have signed up after her. And she said, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to give it to God. If this person shows up to my event and is on my script, I would take a knee, and that would be God's will.
You know, it was very interesting. USA Fencing put out a statement on their trans policy, and in their statement, it essentially said the reason they were including trans athletes is to expand access. But the reality is they're not expanding access. They've always allowed men to compete in fencing as well as women. The reality is these men can't cut it with the other male athletes. So therefore, they are coming into the female sports. And maybe there's well-meaning inclusion that has just morphed into dogma. But this is really just cowardice being manifested as compassion. The reality is there are biological unfairness when you have a biological male competing in women's sports. When it comes to their strength, their bone density, their muscle mass, all of a sudden, this has become completely unfair to female athletes and has taken us back decades and decades of progressive movements trying to get fairness for women athletes.
It's true. And what I found interesting, Emily, is that this was a lifelong Democrat, this woman was. And she said, I changed on this issue alone. She said, I voted red down the ticket this year. It was like waking up to the lies of the mainstream media. And she's not alone. There was a 25-year-old who told the New York Times, I was radicalized because of this issue of biological men in women's sports.
Yeah, and we've talked about that, right? That was a single issue for many voters who, yes, realized they had been indoctrinated by the mainstream media when the reality was so clear when it's facing you and when that person facing you is holding a sword. My mom fenced growing up. She's amazing. She actually got her master's degree from the University of Maryland. And I think about, as you describe the biological differences, it includes as well wingspan, right? And so for a sport that depends on the distance of arms and then at the other end of a sword, that's a big deal. But even bigger is the reaction. You're telling me that who was disqualified was the person who dared to stand up for protecting biological women in sports. Why wasn't that other individual disqualified? This has gone on too far, and I'm not sure why it continues to happen. I didn't think fencing would be included in this, but we've yet to see the full house cleaning that needs to take into account of all of these sports that are letting biological men compete with the women's. And the saddest part is that the person whose future is going to be the most, the potential just eclipsed is that young woman, Sophie.
Well, so, and one of the big things is people are afraid to come out and speak because they don't want to be labeled intolerant or not being excluded, and then they're canceled. And so the reality is science isn't bigotry, it's fact.
Right. Yes. Well, and to that point, I wanted to ask, why aren't more doctors? I can see everybody else, but I appreciated so much hearing you talk about the specificities between women and men. I mean, I know people on the left can't say what a woman is, but you actually can. And it's chromosomal, it's down to a DNA level. It is really fascinating. So where are the scientists? You guys should not be shy to speak up. You're saving lives.
Well, the reality is you can give a man female hormones and it can give them feminine features.
Can he grow a vagina? No, that takes surgery.
You cannot turn them into a woman. But the reality is the far majority of physicians are employed by either a healthcare system, by a venture capitalist, or by the government, and their job is at stake. And if they speak out against what their talking points are, then they could be fired, and that's their livelihood as well.
David, I just want to get U.S. Fencing in here because they did.
You know me.
They did respond to us. USA Fencing said this. USA Fencing enacted our current transgender and non-binary athlete policy in 2023. The policy was designed to expand access to the sport of fencing and create inclusive, safe spaces. The policy is based on the principle everyone should have the ability to participate. It goes on. Okay, but women can't meaningfully participate against biological men.
First of all, that would be a dumb statement by a dumb lawyer. You know, you get these lawyer-like statements. These men are cowards. They're failed men competing against women. Your point about the biology, speed and response, for a male muscle response in fencing that matters in your ability to parry, thrust, make contact, to add to the wingspan. And when you add all this together, the cowards are USA Fencing. Very great point. They have men and they have women competed against each other. In life, if you can't make it, you can't make it. And as for the people who won't stand up in these healthcare companies and whatever, take a lesson from this young lady who took a stance. You might lose your job, but would you rather be a coward for life or risk losing your job for standing up to simple truth?
I apologize. I called her Sophie. Her name is Stephanie.
And that young woman, Stephanie Turner, she will be on the Fox News channel. You will not want to miss this. She's joining America Reports today at 2 p.m. I cannot wait to hear what she says. Stephanie Turner, 2 p.m. Eastern Time.
Hey, everyone. I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.